The first rule was simple. If any store opened after midnight, I was not supposed to go inside. The second rule was worse. If I heard mall music playing, I had to turn off the security monitors and sit in silence until it stopped. And the third rule was written in red marker. Do not let the food court see your face. I thought it was some kind of joke. I was 19, broke, and halfway through my second semester of college. My rent was late, my car needed tires, and my financial aid had somehow disappeared into what the school called a processing delay. So when I saw a listing for overnight security at an abandoned mall, I applied without thinking. 3 nights. Cash payment. No experience required. That should have been the first warning. The place was called Ashbourne Galleria. It had been closed since 2006. From the outside, it looked like every dead mall video I had ever watched online. Huge empty parking lot, faded signs, cracked glass near the entrance. A movie theater wing with half the letters missing. The demolition company was supposed to take it apart in 2 weeks. My job was to sit in the security office, watch the cameras, and make sure nobody came inside to steal copper wiring or film themselves doing something stupid for the internet. The supervisor met me by the west entrance at 10:30 p.m. He was a big guy with tired eyes and a voice like he had not slept in years. "You're the college kid?" he asked. I nodded. He gave me a flashlight, a radio, a ring of keys, and a laminated sheet of rules. Most of them were normal. Stay in the security office. Walk the main hallway once every hour. Do not use the elevators. Call the police if you see trespassers. Then I saw the last 3 rules. Stores opening after midnight. Mall music. The food court seeing my face. I laughed. The supervisor did not. He pointed at the red line and said, "That one matters most." I asked him what it meant. He looked past me through the dark glass doors into the mall. Then he said, "Just keep your head down if you go near the food court." Before I could ask anything else, he left. The security office was behind the old customer service desk between a closed nail salon and a children's clothing store called Little Steps. Inside, there were 12 black and white monitors, a microwave, an old coffee machine, a landline phone, and a VCR system that still recorded to tapes. The cameras showed every part of the mall: main entrance, north hallway, south hallway, escalators, fountain, food court, arcade. The arcade camera bothered me the most. It showed a store called Galaxy Palace. The metal gate was pulled down, but behind it I could see rows of old arcade machines sitting in the dark. At 11:59 p.m., everything was still. At exactly midnight, one arcade machine turned on. A pale blue square appeared behind the gate, then another, then another. Within seconds, every machine in Galaxy Palace was glowing. I leaned closer to the monitor. The screens were too blurry to read, but I could see reflections moving between the cabinets. Tall shapes, too still to be people. Then the mall speakers crackled. A cheerful jingle played through the empty building. A woman's voice sang, "Ashbourne Galleria, come back anytime." I looked at the rule sheet. If you hear mall music, turn off the monitors. I almost did. But then the south hallway camera flickered. The metal gate of a shoe store started rising by itself. No motor sound, no grinding. It just lifted, slowly, like invisible hands were pulling it up. The lights inside came on. And the store was not abandoned anymore. The shelves were full of clean white sneakers. Sale signs hung from the ceiling. Posters of athletes from the early 2000s covered the walls. Behind the register stood a man in a red polo shirt. His back was turned to the camera. His head leaned too far to one side. The landline rang. I nearly knocked over the chair. I picked it up. For a few seconds, there was only breathing. Then a woman whispered, "Security? Who is this?" I asked. "Do not answer them if they ask for help." The line went dead. On the monitor, the man in the shoe store turned around. His face was wrong. Smooth, unfinished, like someone had erased the details. But his name tag was clear. Martin Shift Manager. Then he lifted one hand and waved at the camera. I turned off the monitors. All 12 screens snapped to black. The mall music kept playing. Come back anytime, come back anytime, come back anytime. I sat there in the dark holding the rule sheet with both hands. At 1,211, the music stopped. The silence felt worse. I waited another minute before turning the monitors back on. The shoe store was dark again, the arcade machines were off, everything looked normal. Except the food court camera, someone had moved a chair. It was now facing directly toward the camera. On the chair was a tray. On the tray was a paper cup, and on the cup written in black marker was my name, Ethan. I had not told anyone at the site my first name. That was enough for me. I grabbed my backpack, my phone, the keys, and headed for the exit. The second I stepped into the hallway, I smelled popcorn, fresh popcorn, butter, salt, warm sugar. The mall should have smelled like dust and mold. Instead, it smelled like Saturday afternoon. And that was when I remembered I had been here before. When I was little, my mom used to bring me to Ashbourne Galleria every December. We bought Christmas gifts, ate pizza in the food court, and she gave me quarters for Galaxy Palace. I had forgotten the place completely. But the mall had not forgotten me. I started walking faster. The main doors were at the end of the hallway, maybe 200 feet away. Then the lights above me turned on one by one. Not emergency lights, mall lights, warm bright, welcoming the dry fountain. In the center court coughed, shook, and began to run dirty. Water spilled from the top bowl. Coins appeared at the bottom. Hundreds of them. Then every store gate on the first floor rose at the same time. The sound rolled through the mall like a long metallic groan I ran. The exit looked close, but the hallway stretched longer with every step behind me. Voices called out from the stores, "Sir, we're closing soon. Sir, you forgot your receipt. Sir, your mother is waiting in the food court." I stopped. That last voice sounded exactly like my mom. She had been gone for 3 years. I still was not ready to talk about why I turned before I could stop. Myself. At the far end of the hallway, under the glowing food court signs, a woman stood with her back to me. She wore the gray winter coat my mom used to wear. Same hair, same posture, same small tilt of the head. The third rule flashed in my mind: do not let the food court see your face. I looked down at the floor. "Ethan," she called. Her voice cracked the pus. Way it used to when she was trying not to cry. "Please, honey, I've been waiting." I covered my ears and backed away. The smell of pizza grew stronger, then Chinese food, then frozen yogurt, then something sour and spoiled underneath like old food left in the heat. My back hit the glass doors. I grabbed the handle locked. I tried another locked. My hands shook as I searched through the keys. Behind me, my mother's voice whispered, "Look at me." The radio on my belt crackled. The supervisor's voice came through. "Ethan, listen carefully. Do not open that door." I froze. "You said I could leave," I whispered. "I said you had a shift," he answered. "I never said it ended." My stomach dropped. The mall music started again, soft and happy. The supervisor continued, "The mall does not take people all at once. It hires them, it gives them a uniform, a name tag, and a place to stand forever." I looked down. There was a name tag clipped to my hoodie. I had not put it there. It said Ethan Knight Security. I grabbed it and tried to rip it off, but it burned my fingers. The supervisor said, "There's only one way out." "How?" "Give it someone else." The radio filled with static. Then his voice returned almost too quiet to hear, "Make them look at the food court." The line died. I looked through the glass doors. Outside in the parking lot, a guy about my age was standing with a flashlight. He wore a college hoodie and carried bolt cutters. Probably some urban explorer. Probably there to film the mall. He pressed his hands to the glass and looked inside. I knew what the mall wanted. All I had to do was knock, wave him in, let him see the food court, let him take my shift. Behind me, my mother whispered, "Please, baby, I'm so tired." For 1 second, I almost did it. Then I remembered something. My real mother would have rather stayed lost forever than asked me to do that to someone else. So I turned around. I kept my eyes on the floor. and I ran toward her voice. The food court erupted with voices. Not one voice, hundreds employees, customers, children, cashiers, arcade machines, the fountain, the speakers, all rising through the same cheerful jingle. I crashed into a table and hit the floor, hard pain shot through my ribs. I crawled under the table, grabbed a metal chair, and swung it upward. The nearest light burst above me, then another, then another. The food court went dark, the voices stopped for 1 second, the entire mall was silent. Then, the main doors clicked open, I ran. The police found me in the parking lot at 3:42 a.m., barefoot shaking, covered in dust and scratches, holding a broken chair leg. The demolition company denied hiring me. There was no supervisor, no payroll record, no security footage, no proof that I had ever been inside Ashbourne. Galleria was taken apart 2 weeks later. I watched the drone. Footage online with everyone else. For most of the video, it looked normal. Concrete, dust-twisted metal. But at the 9-minute mark, the drone passed over what used to be the food court. Through a hole in the roof, you could see the tables below. Every chair was facing upward, and every seat was full. The video was deleted the next day. Now I'm back on campus, I go to class, I work a normal job, I tell people I dropped out of security because the hours were bad. But sometimes, when I'm studying late at night, my laptop speakers crackle. Even when nothing is playing. Then I hear that old jingle. Very soft, very far away, Ashbourne Galleria. Come back anytime. And last night, my phone gave me a calendar notification. No title. No reminder. Just a location. The empty lot where the mall used to be. And a shift time. Tonight. Midnight to 6 a.m.